you for your interest in Precise for DB2. We're going to provide a very quick overview. We're talking about monitoring and optimization. One of the things I like to point out is that DBAs are definitely in the arena. Your company, your organization depends upon you, and that database performance fuels company performance. The root of every significant transaction is the system of record, and that's the database. And today we're talking about DB2. So I'm going to jump immediately to the live demo. And here is our dashboard screen. We're looking at a single database partition. And so you can imagine a system with multiple partitions. You can get information about what's going on. If you had multiple partitions, we would bubble up to the top of the list which one is the very busiest. Everything that's shown in Precise is in context of a time frame. The default setting is the last 8 hours, but it's very easy to come in here, open this up, bump up the time horizon to a 1 week time span, click OK. We reach out to our historic repository and we pull back the activity that came up. And you can see, wow, there's this huge spike. So I'm actually going to zoom in on this huge spike here, click this little focus button, and now we're going to focus in on that time frame. And interesting that during that time frame, looking at the key, that you can see that we have quite a bit of time in lock, and I can have a couple different options. I can hover over it. I can actually change this bar into a number. So 3 hours, 37 minutes, 18 seconds, and a fraction of time in locking. So I might want to get an idea of what's going on over there. Now here you can start to see some interesting things in terms of the top consumers, this SQL statement against the order line table, and we have a stacked bar graph of how that SQL statement spent its time while executing. And so SQL statements are the drivers of activity and resource consumption. They go against tables, so we actually have ranking of what are the top tables that are hit. This is really important in terms of proactive monitoring, not just firefighting. So I can come in and I can also identify the update statement that drove my locking scenario. Down here I can get information about the buffer pools, etc. There's a second tab called Applications, and I can come in here and basically find out information about the driving programs. For shops that are running SAP, you can actually see SAP modules, T-codes, SAP users. We have the same functionality for some of the other ERPs, so definitely ask us about that. Precise offers current, which shows real time. I think of real time as kind of a picture. Most people want to look at a movie. You know, picture's great, but a movie can tell a story. And so in the activity screen, we can go in and we can basically segment what are the top partitions. Within that, what are the top programs? And then this is a ranking of the programs. And then from that ranking, I can get into, all right, well, the application program was by far and away the largest. What were the SQL statements that were submitted from that? And so I can go in, I can see those SQL statements. And here's a ranking of the text, and there's always like an 80-20 rule. Likewise, what are the top objects? And so answering all of this information about what's driving resource consumption, what resources are being consumed, and so I can get all of this information very, very quickly. Precise allows me to also get into built in as part of the solution is tuning. So I just click this little button here that says Tune, and it throws me into this workspace where I can evaluate the execution plan. We have recommendations and what if to actually model changes on the system. This is kind of designed as a pre-built workbench to kind of, we work with DBAs to say, well, what's the next logical question? Well, if you're looking at a SQL statement and an execution plan, you want to know what are the tables. You want to know the size of the row tables. This one has 1.9 million rows. Well, where is that table accessed? I click this little locate button and it shows me. And Precise also calculates that the big resource consumer is actually kind of this nested loop join. That's where the resources are being consumed. Precise does offer the recommend. The final piece that we're going to touch in during this video is the resources. A lot of people ask about kind of gauging different hit ratios over time, and so we actually show the catalog cache hit ratio, the package cache hit ratio, the buffer pool hit ratio, and all of these things are graphed over time. Down here you can actually see connections and so forth, and that can become very important during for looking at certain problems that can develop actually from the Java tier. So we can get into this with additional information, but Precise is actually going to show upstream into the application as well as downstream into storage. So the final tab I'm going to click on is package cache, and so here we're basically looking at kind of each of these in a little bit greater detail. We have dashboards, we have alerting, we have reports, so please ask us about that in a one-on-one demo that we'd like to do for customers or prospects that have a little bit more interest. Thank you very much for watching the video on Precise for DB2. Thank you.